and Bruce, and I'm a business coach, and I have a 7-figure veterinary business here in Finland. And I'm a ruler, and also I have Maverick and Accumulator.
And so tell us more. So you have a 7-figure vet practice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So tell me how your ruler, and what are your other archetypes for you as well?
I'm Maverick Accumulator. I actually did the test again like a few weeks ago, and my Accumulator had was the second now. So yeah, that's a strong one for me too.
And tell me how it's showing up for you in your business and how it's.
Well, when I kind of heard about the ruler, saw your videos about it, it just kind of hit home so hard. I was like, oh yeah, that's what I am, and that's what I'm all about. And of course, I relate to so much that Tara just said. It's a whole kind of vibe being a ruler. It's just something that dominates your being. And for me, of course, it has the great kind of business-minded, money making, obviously, like really good like qualities, but then also there's the burnout and there's the workaholism. And of course, when you combine it with the Maverick, then you have the boredom and you just want to kind of burn it all down occasionally and just move on to other things. So yeah, that's been a big one for me too. Just like doing the thing and letting it be there and just like growing it and not wreck it all down just because I'm bored. That's a big one.
I'm curious though how your accumulator plays into this, right? Because I see a lot of the times I see that ruler Maverick combination that we all have, by the way, I have that as well, of being completely delusional about workload, completely delusional about manipulating time and space just to make it happen because we can. But how does your accumulator play into that when the accumulator is so much more methodical and so less trusting about it all just working out? Tell me how that's playing for you.
Yeah, the trusting, that's been a huge thing for me, to learn to trust things and learn that, I'm not gonna go and live under the bridge if I do this or that, or invest in that, or buy that course. So yeah, it's the accumulator. It's kind of like that energy that's always behind you, kind of like nagging and kind of the distrusting, kind of a bit of a negative energy there. That's just like, are you sure? Are you sure this is going to work? Or are we just going to lose it all and we're going to go bankrupt and everything's going to go so bad? And then you just have to really be like, yeah, I know what I'm doing here. I know what I'm doing. I'm trusting this and you'll see. But also because the Maverick and the ruler just want to make stuff happen and advance. So it kind of balances out. But also when investing in things, because the accumulator and Maverick are kind of opposites in that sense, that the Maverick just wants to jump right in and can tolerate quite a bit of risk, and the accumulator can't. So there's like balancing too. And because I've grown up in a entrepreneurial family, there's been kind of these ups and downs with the money. So I think that's one of the reasons why my accumulator might be triggered too. So yeah, that's been. But it's really, after I found out about these types, it's been kind of so much more, it's been so much easier to balance them out, because now I can really realize that, okay, this was the accumulator saying that, and that was the Maverick, and okay, this is the ruler, and I can see where they're coming from. I know what they want. So it's so much easier to balance them out and find a solution that works for me. So yeah, it's been really, really great to get to know them.
Well, exactly. The words that they need to hear of going, it's okay, I've made the decision, like here's the work behind that. If here's my spreadsheet. And I actually was talking to people today who were romantics. All of them were married to accumulators.
Oh,
all of them.
Yeah, that's funny because my fiance is a romantic. He's a romantic collector. So
interesting. Yeah. But I was saying to them, like you have to just know that language that they need to hear to say, this is what we've agreed to. This is, we've agreed that we're going to put 10% away for fun money. And this is what I'm spending it on now. You almost like bring it back to a policy because they respect rules. And if you have those rules for yourself for that accumulator, it's hard with that maverick because your maverick wants to break it, but it's almost like, but we've done the checks, and so sometimes with accumulators, it's never enough. It's like, but I hit all of those things, but it's still, you're still saying no. So it's like, you just got to give it some space. Sorry, Anne, do you resonate with this as well? Like, where is your burnout stuff come from?
Yeah, absolutely. I resonate so much. Because for me too, the like asking for help is still so hard because I can do it all, and so but I've also learned delegating and outsourcing and just like also kind of like canceling things that I really don't have to do. There really isn't a need to do it all. So yeah, that's been a huge one for me. And I've also kind of been feeling guilty about like being the kind of like the show pony, and not doing all the work and not being there all the time to like help all the others and in a way controlling everything. So that's been kind of hard for me to just sit back and relax and let things be, really. Because in my business, I've built a really kind of like a successful model where I can just not be there. And I know that the things will work, but it's been hard. It's been really hard. So,
where do you think you've learned the lesson of receiving the most? Is it around help? Is it around systems? Is it around home help even? Where has it been for you?
Well, for me, for now at least, it's been at the work, just like letting others take responsibility and just letting them do them. Not everything has to be done my way. And it still gets done and it still all goes well. So I don't really have to be the one that kind of, is in control. And I think the controlling part is also the accumulator part of me who wants to like really see everything happening and really kind of just stop everything from going to ruin. So that's really kind of, one aspect of it.
What about the self-care stuff that both Tara and I were talking about as well of, like just sometimes we forget that we're human with a body, not just a very clever brain.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been huge for me too. I've really lived years in a state where I kind of didn't have a body. I just had the mind, and that was all. And now in the recent years, I've come back to kind of having more of a mind and body connection. And I actually started private yoga lessons, and that's been really good because there I can like really concentrate on that, and the instructor also knows about my kind of work situations and about my energy, so she's really good at guiding me to kind of feel my body, just feel it's there and what it wants. And I've also had kind of these new morning routines where I just ask my body what it needs. What do I need? What does my body need? And that's been transformational too. Because I have the accumulator, not the romantic. So I don't really have that kind of inner kind of trait of just wanting to pamper yourself. I really have to make that happen, or otherwise it doesn't. I have to schedule that in, for sure.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of doing something like private, is that they turn up to your house and knock on your door.
Yeah.
And that was the hard thing for me. Every week I was like, I hope she cancels so I can just do work. And then she'd knock on the door and I'd go, dang. Because it's so easy if you have to go somewhere to cancel it, right?
Yeah.
But you just said something really interesting. And this is, I think, a good segue into the question about like buying things and buying programs, because I noticed I get really impatient if something's like, oh, you get this membership and you get it over like time. And I'm always like, well, what's the quickest way I can do this? And I dream about being able to go to like a salon where they do everything in like a speedy hour, where they like wax me, like, you know, do my hair, do my nails all at the same time while I can like listen to a podcast. And I realize I just want I want the VIP option, but different. The celebrities want it because it makes them feel like celebrities. I want it for speed and efficiency. And so, and we'll start with you, Anne, and then we'll come back to Tara. But like, what makes you buy a program or buy something for your business or personal development, and what kind of turns you off and what makes you hesitate?
Yeah, well, that just sounds so like me too. I was just like thinking the other day that there should be also a doctor's appointment where they do like everything at once, and you wouldn't have to go to different specialists and to the lab and to the like x-ray. It just like would happen there. And that's actually funny because at the vet clinic, that's what happens. We kind of would take the animal and then we do it all and then they go out. So yeah. So a vet clinic for people maybe. But yeah, I really want everything to happen quickly. I want it now. I don't have time to wait. It's really frustrating if a program is kind of like this longer ongoing thing where you don't get to have it all right away. And also, I've had salespeople like selling me hard. Like, I've already made up my mind. I know what I want. I just like stop talking and tell me the price and I can just buy it if I want it. I don't need all that kind of like talk about it. So yeah, that's frustrating too sometimes. I just want to know what it does for me, how can I make money out of it, and what's the price, and that's it. So
yeah. So, Anne, who are your clients? Like, who are you attracting naturally, or have you changed that? Like, who are your perfect matches?
Well, of course, I think that in my vet businesses, the branding and kind of who we are, it attracts nurturers and connectors, and but also like rulers that want everything to be done right now and have everything under the same roof. So those are definitely ones that come true. And as a coach, I think there's rulers. Obviously, there's rulers, but I don't see accumulators that much, and that's something that I bring to the equation too, because I'm like, hey, we have this strategy, and then we have these systems, and we're going to use them, and they're like, oh, and yeah, so that's a good one to have actually in that sense. And I also think there's some that have celebrity in them too. I think that's something that, and connectors. So maybe that is the combo that I get right now.
Celebrities in your vet practice too?
No, not that much, or it doesn't show there that much, you know, because that's more of a kind of like a space for the pets and the people are not so much at the front. So yeah. But I don't, because there's obviously, I'm not alone at the vet practice. I have a lot of vets and nurses and managers. So it's not so much about what I'm personally attracting. There's so many of us that have different types there too, that have different kind of clientele. But as a branding, I think it's more of a nurturer thing.
And that's the thing for those nurturers, connectors. For them, it is about spending money on their loved ones, and they probably would spend any amount of money on their pets, and they wouldn't probably spend that on themselves ever.
Yeah.
And I saw this really interesting self-care app the other day, and it was almost like a Tamagotchi type app, but you could take care of this virtual pet thing, but you had to do it by doing self-care activities for yourself, or the pet would die, basically. And I just thought that's such an interesting way to help connect to nurturers to do the things that they, that they probably wouldn't do themselves because they might feel guilty about it. And I think, because I was trying to think for me as a ruler, I'm like, there's little things I have to take, like medications, like 3 times a week. And it's so hard for me to remember the 3 times a week. And I was like, I wish there was just like an implant that they could just stick in me and I didn't have to remember to do it. But there's all those little tricks that you can use, to kind of trick yourself into doing things. But for ruler, for me, when you said about the vet thing, I'm like, oh God, I wish there was I have to find that place where I can just go and get all of them done at the same time. So I know we've already gone over, and I really want to respect your time. I just would love to ask, just one last thing of why do you think rulers or any of your other archetypes should join SMA?
Well, I loved all the things you said, Sarah, and also Denise. And I really think that the biggest part for me really was the balance. When I know what my types are, it kind of lifts the veil and you can see past them and really balance them out, because you really understand all those things that are going inside your head and maybe messing with you too. So it really gives you the tools to work with yourself, and trust that you really can do anything. You just have to have all those types balanced and really just think it through and not let those kind of like shadow thoughts, and with me, the accumulator, not trusting to kind of get in the way. I've loved the SMA course. It's been so good. And really, for me too, it has revealed so much other things too that I have to and want to work on. And for me too, it really has helped with my relationship with my fiance too, because now I know he's a romantic, and it's so much easier as, ruler, accumulator, maverick to kind of handle things with him too. So yeah, it's really kind of groundbreaking in all aspects.
So, are you a ruler, a connector, or a maverick? Hang on, maybe you're more of a romantic or a celebrity. Take the money personality quiz right now and find out which of the 8 money archetypes you are. And then I'm going to teach you how to profit from your strengths and make money in your business based on your natural personality. Click below and find out more.